What's up, guys?
What's up?
Oh, hey. Come to steal my thunder or what?
It's all you, man. It is all you.
I'm tired. I won't do it. I'll change stuff. You want to mute then? Your freaking mic is super sensitive right now. All good. All right, I should share my screen. That'd be a good start. All right, what's up, everybody? Let us know that. Let me restart that. Drop a comment real quick to let us know that you can hear us. So I don't want to talk if you can't hear me. I've done that before. Not fun for me or you. Weekend was too long. I don't think it was long enough. That's just my opinion. Yeah. All right, I assume you guys can hear me. All right, so today, just a massive chop fest. Looking at we have the 4 indices, well, really 3 indices right here, but I have SPY and I have SPX. The big thing to call out, not able to get above prior day high, which would be the high of Friday. Pretty much just oscillating right around kind of the pre-market open prior day low. Those are just a couple of kind of key levels I like to pay attention to. If we go over and we look at the Mag 7 real quick, same story pretty much. Most of the components not above prior day high, right? And there's what's higher should continue to move higher, right? We can't even break above prior day high yet, so by definition that is just kind of a choppy range, right? If you're inside prior day candle, choppy range. We'll get into kind of the structure of SPX in a second. If you didn't catch our pre-market prep, right, big iron condor structure kind of creates a little bit of a chop price action, especially given the size today. If you're not able to breach, either sides of the legs, and then we'll see what speculation is. Speculation was just flat on the day as well. So let me get into snag. Then here was the. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So the web app picture for today, right? We can see the iron condor structure was. Well, I'll just go to the actual internet here. Let me refresh this. Here we go. Well, we'll go back to this because it's end of day, so it doesn't look. Okay, so here looking at. Well, sorry, I'm just trying to visualize the iron condor structure, and it's not. The bars only for net delta. That's not doing for me either. Whatever. All right, so. Well, the net LI would show that too, anyways. But anyways, so the pre-market structure, you can easily see where the iron condor structure was at, right? That was 80, 75 to the downside, 10, 05 to the upside. I think we've been kind of trading right around our DEX transition zone for most of the session, which is 25 to 35. Yeah, we got a little bit of above and below it, but not really much. It's kind of been oscillating around there. But more importantly, right, obviously we understood what the structure coming into the day was, but then, how are folks actually transacting? This is our market trend model, right? Kind of focused in on the intraday dynamics from today. Very flat, right? Really no evidence of, filter tick buying that we saw. This would be Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. Friday wasn't really much. This is just kind of a nuance of the market being closed. It basically just continues up in the angle that it was when it closed. That's not real buying, but certainly beginning of the week was. So really just a consolidation day. Something we said in the pre-market was we kind of have a short-term momentum, indicator more or less, which is our railroad tracks are, moving higher. Obviously, if you're not familiar with Gamma Edge and the market trend model, that probably sounds like a foreign language to you, but I know a lot of people on here understand what that is. So I'm not going to explain every detail at the moment, but I'll show you guys at the end where you can go learn more about that. But right, 3 to 5 day signal saying on Friday, into today that, we're getting kind of long in the tooth with that. So some kind of consolidation or even a pullback would be completely reasonable here. But yeah, just very, very flat action day inside the transition zone. And then looking at the actual intraday dynamics between, let me get to it, between call and put speculation on the 0 DT time frame, we can see that here is very flat as well, right? Kind of call this a flat top. We talked about that earlier in the session. An hour ago, I posted something on it in the Discord as well. But right, this is the call centroids on top, put centroids below, right? We plot those every 5 minutes to understand what the behavior speculation is, right? And to the call side, it's been very flat all day. We haven't seen a sustained move higher, given a bit up here lately on this move lower, which isn't surprising, just given kind of the consolidating nature, huge range, huge chop range, right? Given this today range position, those iron condor structure, and yeah, just kind of right in the middle of the zone. Put centroids moving kind of 45-degree angle higher for most of the session. So again, there's kind of characteristics of that flat top that we have, where it's kind of sideways to higher, choppy, grinding price action, which is more or less what we got. Obviously, a little bit of selling has come in here, but yeah, that's kind of what the day is. A bit of a pretty boring day, to be honest with you, especially with the structure, coming into the market that we had. So yeah, if y'all got any questions on that, let me know. Feels like I was stumbling over my words there. I don't know, maybe still on the weekend time, but whatever. Yeah, again, going through the Mag 7, Apple's had a nice move today. Tesla range bound, NVIDIA kind of range bound. I need to put on the levels from today. I never did that. So what is it? Grab? Nope, that's the wrong thing. Trading view scripts. Let's put on this one. Here. Let's go here. Yes, you got NVIDIA, right, chopping right around the P-trans level all session, not super unsurprising there. Same thing, Tesla, but right around the P-trans level, unable to get above prior day high. Something probably to look at too is in our swing trading game plan, if we go to, so I post these scatter plots every day, right? And the scatter plots are just a good way, visual for us to understand kind of where the good risk to reward opportunities are. First off, I do a call and put dominated list. So, one thing we can do quickly, right, is just looking at the call dominated list, to see how many names are being populated. Like, if you would have looked at this a couple weeks ago, there were like no names populated because everything was put dominated. Now we have, call dominated names coming on here. Then second, we can look at where the good risk to reward opportunities are, right? Because, right, P-trans, that's kind of our key upside acceleration zone. So closer we can enter to P-trans, the better, because, if we invalidate that level, then it quickly tells us that our directional thesis is wrong. And then plus Gex is our upside target, right? And so we want to look for those names that are good risk to reward. And so that's kind of what this green box represents, to where, Dollar Tree is an example. It has like 1% downside to P-Trans and upside to plus Gex of like 9%. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, is Dollar Tree like a name I really want to trade? Is that like a name that's performing well when the markets are all pulled up? Kind of just looking at the composition of the names in the list. There's not a ton of high flyers, to be honest. Like you have Dollar Tree, you have Dollar General, I think that's Western Digital, banks, MMM, Wells Fargo, Walmart, Starbucks. You got Amazon there. You got XOM, but just not a ton of like high flying names, I would say. So understanding kind of the number of names, but then what the makeup of those names are, and then the names over here are names that haven't yet made it above P-Trans, but are still call dominated. Something to pay attention to there. This is our put dominated list, right? These are names that we're looking like, I don't know if you want to short the market. I use it more for sentiment, just understanding, okay, what's the number of names on the list versus yesterday? Like, is there a lot more? Is there not as many? Not necessarily looking to short these names per se, but if you're looking to short names, then probably want to be looking at these names. We can also look at it as the core scatter plot. So the core scatter plot is just like 15 names, I think, of kind of the biggest names in the market. I think Mag 7, large liquid leaders. And so we can, again, understand kind of where those stocks are in relation to their key levels, and really just how many names are populating on this list. Same thing with sectors, right? We can go through the sectors. We can understand where in relation to P-Trans plus GEX they are. Tesla right now holding P-Trans, Palantir, kind of same thing, right at P-Trans level. Keep in mind, just in general, like a lot of these names from a price action point of view, like they're like making lower highs right now. Like Palantir, like this thing got absolutely pummeled from its highs. You were down like 30%, and it's not even made a 50% retrace of that move yet. So kind of 50%, kind of like a benchmark of like, a common place where that potential bounce fails, or, if it continues from there, then maybe, potentially some, like change in trend per se, but, get a change in trend, you really need to take out the highs set on Friday. So we'll see if that happens, right? It had a chance to break through the highs of Friday, but it failed. So just key information there. And that's a pattern that you're going to see through a lot of these stocks. Like a pattern is just understanding kind of what price action is doing. Not necessarily like a bull flag or whatever, but that's just kind of a quick way you can understand what we're doing. Hood, doesn't look very good. Apple, obviously super strong. Amazon, kind of the same deal. Palantir we just talked about. Google, obviously a very, very strong name in the market. Microsoft, it looks pretty bad. Below P-Trans, all that good stuff. So, really that's what I wanted to come on here and talk about. From a swing trading point of view, I'm really not doing much still. Obviously, our mechanical strategies both are allowed to be taking long entries, just given what the market trend model is doing. We have our bullish, kind of momentum indicator is turned on, which is the cumulative tick above the rainbow ribbon, moving average ribbon. So this thing is bullish. Okay. There's no doubt about it. But from there, it's just kind of understanding the environment we're in, and really just, stock setting up or lack of setup. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the mechanical portfolios right today. That's the wrong one. If you go here, like today, these were the opening trades. These were the opening trades there. Technically, probably not the right list, but it's close enough. Closing trades.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the right one for for the true for our portfolio. So
Oh, sorry. I was just looking at the timestamp. Not what
yeah. It ran.
Cool.
It ran. Yeah, somebody ran it. The mechanical portfolio was full from last Wednesday entries, so we didn't have any spaces to add on to anything. So
Got it. Yeah, our portfolio was full, but to the extent you're following the strategy of open spaces, right? Those were 3 names that triggered exits. Were these 4 names? AVGO, Google, Intel, Lilly. Here's our portfolio we have right now. Obviously, taking some heat on the AMD positions. Adobe taking some heat on those, but that's really just. That's a strategy, right? There's going to be some drawdown to it, like our back test, very transparent about that. But, looking at, since inception year to date, all that's tracking in line with the back testing high win rate strategy, kind of 75% win rate. So, yep, that's what it is right now. The GE, our wheel strategy, right? Just the common wheel option strategy. We just have a little flair to it, meaning, looking for names with institutional strength. We just use kind of the Minervini trim template, if you're familiar with that. And then, using our options analysis, looking for those call dominated stocks, all that good stuff. We produce, a list of names meeting that criteria. And that's what that list is made up of. So not sure if you guys have any questions or not. Keep it brief if you want to, but yeah, I just wanted to come on, kind of show you guys what we're seeing from a 0DT point of view. Obviously, a bit of a meltdown, a relative meltdown, since 2 o'clock this last hour. Market trend model, a little bit of selling pressure since then, but it's also on an intraday time frame, so you can zoom out a little bit and see everything is still all right. Right in the middle of the transition zone. So, really just kind of what the expectation was for the day, right? In between this range, should just expect a lot of choppy price action. Now, the thing got to consider is if we break below, 6,800 is probably a good fulcrum. It's, right towards the bottom of our transition zone, kind of around where we open. So, if we do continue. Was I muted this whole time? Hope I wasn't. I don't think I was, but yeah, if we lose 6,800, then we'll see if that brings with it selling pressure via the market trend model, and if we see selling pressure via our intraday volume analysis. And then obviously, that should manifest into the big stocks and all that good stuff if it's some serious selling pressure. So. Not seeing any questions come through, so if that's the case, then we can call it a day from there, and we will see you all back here bright and early tomorrow. So again, power hour starting. Pay attention to 6,800. Yeah, but right now we're kind of smack dab in the daily trading range. So really. Not a ton of grand insights for you there. So yeah, kind of is what it is right now. So with that, we appreciate the time, and we will chat later. Thank you.